Well, it definitely wouldn't be in GDM's favor. So they are going for Tundra. Looking at the gods, we have GDMs as the Zeus, Oranos, Loki, whereas DoD set Isis, Loki, so that's the same setup as last game. And I would be thinking that we might be seeing similar setup or other strategy from Deities of Death, as we have seen in the game on March number 1. Okay, so we are in, and at the bottom we have a spawn of Dot, and it's going to be Shelty on the left side. Snow coming down, and we see that he's having hand on the left side, or rather at the top side, very nicely, a back TC, which is also usual on this map, and really not any kind of extra problems here. And looking at the tree lines, yeah, right now that he has actually discovered this one, it's pretty much okay. I was a bit worried for him maybe that he will be wide open in the forefront, but he has. Right now we can see that Magic has used vision into the middle to discover all the extra hand. One in here, a bit of a wolfies that are going to be just a target for Magic's Priest, and otherwise a bit of a hunt at the forefront here as well. And I'm kind of thinking this will be for him up for the taking, and if he's going to play the same as last game, he will definitely go for this forefront TC just as soon as he advances into the next age. Shelty right now content with the hunt in here, otherwise he's having one on the left, which seems to be protected by the woods, so potentially easily volable about here. Shouldn't be really all that hard. But also looking at this front TC, which is definitely his, it's kind of not ideal positioning, because looking how he has tree line behind it, he will be having harder time retreating with any kind of army or villagers from it if he happens to be under attack in there. So not really ideal, but at the same time, it's a nice strategical position as it's in the middle of the map. So if he can cover it, definitely going to help him. Hunt and Gold at the very back for Magic, so he's having a pretty nice map without any kind of problems. He could be set by this ally on the right side, Fox, who is playing Isis, and having a bit of a relic here with units cheaper cost. Well, that's not how bad. Especially going to be helpful for Shelty, I would be saying, rather than the Aegis here. And he's also gathering in his home base, and otherwise having extra gold and extra hunt on the right side. And I'm kind of thinking that he will be developing in that direction, as really he would want to cover this gold, as he doesn't know if there's anything extra behind him at the back. His front EC is nicely positioned, it's pretty much close to him, so not any kind of problem. Otherwise, let's have a look at the opponents right now. Adon is the first, who is playing Zeus, already going for a bit of a gold in here, having Hunt at the back as well, also having a lot of it in the forefront, so he might be forced into a bit of an aggressive positioning with his Willies, which could be threatening for him, but he's also having the same problem as Shelty is having at the bottom with the TC behind the tree line. So if he wants to go for it, yeah, he will be having a bit of a problems in there. Extra gold and hunt on the right side, with at the back also extra hunt, but also a relic, which is better villager food and gold, or rather wood and gold get rates. Very sweet indeed, and definitely going to help them. And in the forefront, yet another relic, which is villagers kill animals in single shot, which is actually pretty great, considering that Magic is playing a set. And this will be super important relic. I'm not exactly sure if Adon right now knows about it, but I would be guessing so, because I don't expect Fox to be actually scouting all that far, and he should definitely be. I would maybe go for even Jason before advance, because this relic is super important in this game when you are facing a set against you. So Katascopa seems to be basically camped at this DC, trying to see what's going to happen in here, with Ron Weasley's Oracle being killed by the Wolfie, which is definitely not going to be prevented, and Magic definitely going for a bit of a zoo here, and will be aiming for some early aggression. So far it's telling me that he will be aiming for the same strategy and early front DC. As we are at 3 minutes, so we should be advancing into the next ages, which is exactly true for Ron Weasley as an Oranos, and well, otherwise, he's being scouted on the left, and well, this is a pretty good idea from Magic, as obviously he needs to know where all the food is, and well, he's actually going for a bit of a hunt kill in here. I don't really personally like to see, but it's part of the game, so why not? Bit of a decay is going to be setting in, so a bit less food for Ron Weasley, but I'm not exactly sure if it's going to be making all that much of a difference on a map like this, especially looking at the amount of food at the very back. Some Aurochs, some caribous here, so yeah, literally ton of food everywhere, so it's not really going to be making as much difference as, for example, on Oasis. Second temple being built by Pharaon, who is already 50% into Forseti, so he seems to be going for it quite defensively, but usually that's the case with Lokis, and otherwise, the Loki on the other team, Shelty, is going to be slightly slower, but also going for Forseti, of course, and he's also being spied. Okay, so he's having spies on all those 7 villages for food, which is pretty crucial placement, as if Pharaoh can somehow disrupt this food gathering, it will put Shelty in a pretty tough position in the very early stage of the game. quite a lot of animals from Magic, and it almost seems like that he is aiming to the left, and potentially there's going to be a bit of a double between Shelty and Magic onto their opponent, and that could be a pretty decent idea on their opponent Pharaon here. So, are we going to see some advance onto the villages, or rather onto the TCs from iMagic right now? Do we see some green dots on the minimap? So far, just this guy is closest, potentially for some shifting sense shenanigans. I don't see any kind of other scouting. And yeah, we see a bit of a fight on, fight. Ah, here we see shifting sense, and these are actually different shifting sense. These are offensive ones, and they were on the food gathering here at the back, because very nicely played Spy, exactly as Pharaon placed on Shelty, Shelty placed on him. So yep, this is a bit of a problem with the food gathering for him, but Magic should be careful as he's losing animals basically to nothing. And that's not exactly what he wants, especially this Orok is kinda painful, but well, it doesn't matter all that much because the damage has been dealt and the food for Pharaon is forced right next to his home base. Bit of a walling going on the right side before we see any kind of extra action, and he definitely should finish with the wall here as well, as this tower is kinda nicely positioned, as it's defending exactly this straight, bleeding inside his base, and it could definitely help him in withstanding any kind of early pressure that's probably going to be coming in from Fox, who is yet again going for second TC, and he will be advancing pretty soon into the Heroic Age as well. Yeah, you can see that he's going for Armory, but the aggression seems to be coming in from yet again Shelty, and it will be probably supported by Magic quite substantially by some animals. We already see a bit of a green dots on the minimap coming forward. These are his animals converted from the Gaia here, and he's also under attack. Okay, so this is not really all that safe, and looking at the amount of Turmas, especially when they are hero Turmas, they could be killing some of those villagers. Already killed one, and they are forcing Magic to go somewhere else, who is at 2 TCs also, the same as Fox, but looking at the amount of food at the very back, with a bit of walling, he could be pretty much safe, and wouldn't need to worry about any kind of raiding from these Turmas. Especially when right now Ron Weasley is in a pretty tough spot under the fire of both the TC and the tower. And with the extra priest here, that's pretty much it. Still, Ron Weasley as a pocket seems to be pretty comfortable sending absolutely everything into the attack. As if he was trying to make up for the last game, where he was pretty heavily hammered by Ron Weasley, or rather by Magic and pretty much everybody. They just switched the colors in this game. But looking also somewhere else, yeah, there's a bit of a fight between Shelty and Pharaon near the or other food gatherers, and if Shelty could win here, it could definitely help him quite a lot, because he would be yet again forcing Pharaon off the food source. But looking at the battle so far, even though he's doing a pretty good job with some micro here, it might not be enough, because this spawn of mythical units is exactly what Pharaon needed, and unfortunately for Shelty, he didn't get anything that he would have wanted. So this is it, and he needs to retreat. Especially with Weasley right now being at the spot here. But looking how Shelty is actually having two flanks, and if he can join them up together with a few animals from Magic, this could actually be pretty useful for him, because that would be quite strong army overall. At the same time, Magic should be careful about the raiding of the Turmas, because Ron Weasley is sending quite a lot of them into the battlefield. He's having one flank in here at the back, just trying to make sure that he knows what's happening in there, and at the same time sending other flank into the forefront, but they might be encountering a wall already. Are they going to the right or not? Yeah, they are going to the right. So unfortunately for him, he's going to miss the wall building here. But also, he has been able to yet again catch those villagers on the foot, and Magic is not paying enough attention, and going to die. Oh, he just gave up a bit too soon. But he could be still killing both of them, because it doesn't seem like Magic is paying any kind of attention. Maybe he just doesn't care. It could just be, but he is much more importantly, or rather, much more probably, actually pursuing those Turmas at the very bottom, because they are slightly more dangerous, as they are going for Shelties for the villages right here. Okay, so this is pretty much going to be the end of these Turmas, obviously, because of this wall very nicely positioned by Magic. That's a pretty good job at that, and goodbye a few of those Turmas. But let's have a look into the offensive, where Shelty is yet again. Yeah, the spy is still working, and it seems like that Shelty is actually purposefully avoiding the villager with the spy, which is definitely a good idea, and pretty good play, because it allows him, without Pharaon knowing, to go for pretty much safe raiding everywhere on the map. So this is pretty much okay, with villagers joining the fight as well, which I think is a good idea, looking at pretty much equal fight. And we should be looking at the right side, where Fox has already taken a 30C, building a siege works, but where is actually his Migdol? Has he built it yet? No, he hasn't, but he's going to stop the building of a TC from Aron, who hasn't been able to, unfortunately for him, cast his fire fast enough, and, well, here we go. Here we go, he's been forced of his economy, being stuck at just 2, the same as Ron Weasley, and this will definitely help Fox quite a lot, because he will stop the TC and quite potentially even steal it for himself. As looking at Aron, he doesn't have any kind of army. He has just a few medium Hippicons, which could be enough. Well, that's a bit sucky for Fox, probably, losing the Scorpion Man here, and at the same time, at the bottom, Pharaon is going into a bit of an offensive, as he's kind of tired of being raided all the time, and he wants to have a go at his opponents right now. Yeah, yet again, using the spy here quite nicely. Very nice positioning, actually preventing them going into the tower, or even retreating somewhere else, and pretty good spawn. But looking at the amount of heresies was blue, exactly. The spawn is here as well, and that's the same one that Yellow was getting at the top, that was changing the battle yet again, and this is pretty much it, and Pharaon should be retreating with absolutely everything. Even though the support from Ron Weasley could be changing the battle a bit, but not really all that much, because they're not really all that strong. The other flank is trying to have a look at Fox, trying to help his ally Adon, who was under attack of those ancestors, which have right now expired, but there's not going to be any way through, or is there? Oh well, there actually is. Oh well, Fox should be super careful, because he's going to be letting anybody in, but well, looking how Magic is actually not carrying all that much bad walling himself in here, yeah, it's not really all that much of a problem, and well, he's just guarding with the Scorpion Man, which is not going to be enough here. Ron Weasley advancing into the next stage, and looking at the right side though, Fox is definitely doing a pretty good job, but might be forced to retreat, as those medium Hippicons are going to be just a bit too much. Right now, Adon wants to be sure that he actually finishes the TC, so he goes with ceasefire in here, and I'm just looking. Oh yeah, kinda thinking that Pharaon was exactly thinking that he could be stealing this TC, which is not happening because this guy is kinda stuck here in some patrol, trying to see what's going to happen. And well, otherwise TC being built also by Shelty, making use of this potential advantage of no kind of aggression, and looking at how Weasley is trying to find something to kill. This is interesting from Shelty. He has just deleted them. So he needed some extra population limit for extra heresies, it seems like. And well, to be honest, NARs in this stage of the game, are not really all that useful, especially when you are already in a heroic age and can have as many boars as you can. So that was kinda clever play. Not many players would do sacrifice units just like that, especially myth units, but looking at the situation with Shelty basically going for some full-on offensive, with potentially even flaming weapons, I would be guessing, this would be quite hard for his opponents to deal with, especially if he's going to get some extra... Oh, this is going to be with Ancestors from Magic, I think. Some extra wars that he could be getting from those Heresiers. So yeah, just waiting for the Ancestors to come in. Or maybe just Magic is going to wait if he actually needs them. And just signaling that there's a bit of a goal, which is definitely going to be just the next in line for Magic to go for. And well, with the Heresies coming in, right now is going to be time for the flaming weapons from both of these players, and those Ancestors are not even going to be needed, because quite obviously they will be at this stage quite slaughtered by those Heresies with some proper micro from Yellow. Well, so far it's not really needed, because Pharaon is at zero TCs, and mythical spawns are pretty sweet for right now for Shelty, because obviously there's Frost Giant together with the Boar, and all those Mountain Giants are pretty strong and very strong tanks, even against Heresiers, and well, not even those Malkiris could be strong enough, but at the same time it seems like that they actually are, and since we are fighting right next to the buildings of Yellow, it seems like that it was exactly enough that he needed, but he's also down TC, and Magic is joining the fun, so yeah, not even the Raiden from Ron Weasley should be enough to stop Magic's strength in here. And right now, though, he's doing a pretty good job at raiding those god villages, so that's very nicely played right there. But we also have to have a look on the right side, where Fox is finally using even some kind of mercenaries to get rid of this DC that Adon has been able to build. Adon doesn't have any kind of army, he's having just a few medium Hippicons together with Toxots, which is not really enough, and it seems like that he is basically relinquishing the front DC, as he cannot fight all that much against Boom Isis. He's right now trying to at least pull the villagers out to get rid of the siege towers, but since yet another is coming in, the TC is basically toast, those villagers as well, and this will be free for the taking for Fox, if he feels like it. I kind of think that he should, and looking at the middle, we see a bit of a common placement for the gold villagers from all three players, rather, yeah, all three players. And I'm kind of thinking that this would be very sweet for any kind of army from dots to actually target. The offensive into Yellow's base is basically stopped, or rather ceased, as it didn't seem all that strong enough, but at the same time Shelty has switched into the other side and he has discovered the gold placement that we were looking at a bit earlier, and with the ancestors coming in right now, without any kind of army from literally anybody who would resemble GDM, yeah, this is going to be quite hard for them, with magic arriving at the battlefield, and yeah, not even those destroyers, together with the archive, are going to be enough to deal with this. So, not any kind of gold gathering, and looking how there's not much gold behind either bases. I don't see anything. Maybe there's something in here. They should be scouting in it just to make sure. But otherwise, there's absolutely no gold. And it's not really boding well for GDMs at this stage. On the left, Shelty is just having a bit of a fun with some yellow army. Not really anything that he should be worried about, with yellow trying to rebuild it from TC, or rather base TC, which he should be succeeding with, but he needs to be worried about the middle, where basically Weasley is going to be needing quite a lot of help, and even though he's at 3 TCs, he doesn't have much of an army, and doesn't have much of an upgrade. And not much here, with a bit of raiding still going on at the very back, but not really all that successful, and also looking at the right side. Well, I was going to say that actually Fox is having a pretty good situation for him, but he is not all that much, because Adon has been able to amass quite a big army of medium Hippicons with Spirited Charge, and they seem to be pretty good against the army that Fox is having, and well, that's also because the army is just Chariot Archers with not much else in. But right now we see that none of Osiris is having a bit of a fun with the Caribou in here. Poor guy. With Tornado also coming in onto the base of purple, and well, this is going to be pretty much it, I kinda think, because his home base is leveled at this stage. The Dryad tree is also stolen for magic, and since he's a Negi, he is going to be having quite a lot of gold for any Dryads that are coming out of it. So this is base of Weasley pretty much toast. At least the home base is still going to have those extra TCs at the sides, but really looking at the army from Shelty also coming in. Yeah, he's having a pretty strong army, just going to kill this TC without all that much of a problem with those 5 boars. And looking how magic is, yeah, literally camped in here, I'm not really thinking that Weasley is in a good position to do anything. On the left though, Pharaon is kinda mounting a counter attack, doing a pretty good job against Shelty, even taking down his TC. So that's a pretty good job, as Shelty is dropped to just 1, and it's basically equal battle between Pharaon and Shelty, which is maybe slightly unexpected, but very well done by GDM Pharaon, and definitely playing quite well against his opponent. But it's also has to be said, it's because Shelty is not having any kind of army in his own base, he's just killing everything in his opponent's base, and well, that's the reason why Pharaon is having a very easy time in his home base. Shouldn't be really much of a problem, as you can see that magic is already sending some extra help, which is definitely not going to be enough. But look at how Adon is already resigning, because he's not able to withstand the battle, or rather the strength that is coming his way. Yeah, he's unfortunately for him, he did manage to amass quite a decent army of Hippicons, but since he's right now fighting classical age, or no, heroic, he is actually in heroic. Heroic age against, though, mythical age, Isis, the son of Osiris. That's kinda tough, and the copper weapons are already in, so that's just telling you that he is switching into thoughts. Elise, or rather into, not really thoughts obviously, into Elise, and they are going to be a bit of a problem for Adon. On the left side, it doesn't seem like that Pharaon is going to be giving up as soon as his ally on the right side. Well, not really any kind of reason why he should at this stage, because he's having fun with Shelty without any kind of army at home, but well, it's not really going to be making any kind of difference in the game, as magic is just occupying the base of his pocket ally, or rather opponent, who is called Ron Weasley here again, and already coming with some extra upgrades. Since he doesn't lose any kind of units, he's just going to be steamrolling absolutely everything that is happening in the opponent's bases. Shelty's army just trying to basically clean up. I would be kind of thinking that they will be going for this TC and also into here. But let's have a look at the battle right next to the Magic's base, where it's basically one of the last fights in here, and quite a lot of Valkyries actually. It's kind of interesting, probably from all those Hersirs in here, but yeah, that usually doesn't happen, so maybe he even built some of them himself. All those throwing axemen doing their job. course, taking down, or rather taking down the Migdol without all that much of a trouble, but also looking how Shelter is finally recognizing that he needs to help a bit, at least with some units. Yeah, he's helping his teammate, and Magic is pulling out some mercenaries, doing a pretty good job at that. So this is going to be just a question of time before Magic is having enough priests to get rid of all those boars, and that's going to be pretty much it at that stage. On the left side, still just the TC here, and yeah, finally, Shelty has arrived at the home base of Pharaon yet again, and he's going to be yet again losing the TC without any kind of opposition. Fox on the right side is just taking the TC and basically finishing with his opponent, just getting absolutely everything in his path. And Magic seems to be retreating, or rather returning, with absolutely everything to get rid of any kind of semblance of an army of his opponent, GDM Pharaon. So Pharaon is the only one who is basically continuing with the game, as Ron Weasley is at 0 TCs and also without any kind of army or whatever. With Pharaon also going for a bit of a 45 TC, but that's just going to be a question of time, as really there's absolutely nothing that GDM can do about this. Yeah, Shelty just now saying why he's, or rather responding why his opponent is even continuing with the game. That's really not much reason, and we are going to be seeing a bit of a slaughter of the piggies from those heresies. If they actually stop here, they seem to be headed somewhere else into potentially all those champion chariots, and this birdie could actually be pretty useful against any kind of army in here because, oh well, yeah, they were just those chariots, and if those chariots were dead, this birdie would be without any kind of opposition to him. Well, pretty gutsy boar, 3 hit points against a Herseer. Goodbye, boar. That's not going to work for you really all that much, and Pharaon really seems to be having a bit of a fun here, but he's going to lose the TC, and he has already lost the TC in the forefront as well, as Magic has amassed some kind of army of siege towers together with the boars, and that's pretty much it. Not any kind of presence of yellow in the forefront, so yeah, this is going to be a bit of a slaughter of the Willies at the back as well, and this should be resulting into a GG in just a matter of maybe seconds. Just enjoy the sound of dwarves dying. And you're the last one. Here we go. Here we go, so that's it for this, and finally we see the resignment from GDM Pharaon and Weasley as well, so GG, and quite nicely controlled by Dots, but GDMs really played well, I have to say better than last game, and they definitely did have a chance of making something happen. On the left, Pharaon was doing a pretty good job against Shelty, but look at how Shelty was not really having any kind of army in defense, but everything in offense. Wasn't really all that much of a surprise, but on the right side, Adon was doing a great job against Fox. Was nicely boomed, right now finishing at 6, but he was at 3 TC. 3 TCs boomed Isis in Heroic. Well, the Zeus player didn't do half bad against him. So GG, let's have a look at the post game. Magic the most food, and looking at the economy. Total score for Fox, I think that was the same case last game around. On the match as well, with economy was going for someone else, I think. But right now it's for Magic with improvements also. And military the best for Fox because yeah, he was having quite tough fights on the right side against the Zeus. And pretty nice military count and unit skilled. Sweet. Same could be said about Magic. Nice ratios. Similar advances into the next stage. I'm kind of thinking it was similar in the last game as well. They were also just a few seconds besides, or rather, apart. Well, yeah, no upgrades, that unfortunately is what decides the game. But also, we have to say that they pile up at the later stage in the game, especially if you're having advantage, because you're not losing units, so you can spare the resources for the upgrades. Okay then, GG.